What to do, YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review Chamillionaire's mixtape Messiah 2 from late 2006. This mixtape came out in December 2006, and it was kind of an interim project between Chamillionaire's 2005 album, The Sound of Revenge, and his last studio album that he ever dropped, which was Ultimate Victory. Now, really, Chamillionaire's just had label problems. That's the reason why he hasn't dropped more projects. He was originally going to drop an album called Venom, and it's really too bad that that didn't come out. But basically, I would have to say the thing about The Sound of Revenge is it had a number of hits off of it. It was kind of scattershot album in terms of the hits, but it had a modest charting song called Turn It Up, which had Lil Flip on there. That did pretty good modestly. And then it had a number one single, which was kind of the reason why people said that Chamillionaire was kind of a one hit wonder with the song Ridin' Dirty. And basically, this was a huge song in the summer of 2006, and it got Chamillionaire a lot of acclaim. This was a huge song in 2006, and it got Chamillionaire a lot of acclaim. And then the third single, Grown and Sexy, which came out after a little bit after like Ridin' Dirty started to die down, it just didn't chart at all. So that's kind of the concept. But basically, Chamillionaire really only had like two charting singles. So this was kind of dropped as kind of like an interim between The Sound of Revenge and Ultimate Victory. Originally, Ultimate Victory was, he says on this mixtape that Ultimate Victory was supposed to come out in March of 2007, but it was kind of interesting to kind of see how Chamillionaire was building buzz for himself because he tried a lot of different tricks. He tried the Lil Wayne mixtape type feel, which is what Mixtape Messiah 1 was, but just kind of seeing how this kind of worked. It's too bad that Chamillionaire didn't catch on more past like Ridin' Dirty and that type stuff, just because he is a skilled rapper, but for some reason he just always kind of got the shaft when it came to having more expression in terms of songs that he could do. And I feel like Turn It Up was really good, Grown and Sexy was really good, and there are some decent club bops on this project like Riding Overseas, Let 'Em Know, and Man Hold Up that are just original Chamillionaire songs, or at least they seem like original Chamillionaire songs. It's just too bad that some of these didn't catch on. I mean, I kind of feel like he just kind of always reminds me of like a modest dude. I mean, kind of modest success, kind of, you talk about him probably more than like back in like the late 2000s when people like Jeezy and Young Buck and Lil Scrappy and Lil Jon and Lil Flip and some of those type people were really popular, and T.I. and Lil Wayne and all them and Birdman. Chamillionaire was kind of one that had modest popularity where he was a good look to know about him, but he never really got the exuberant expression that he needed in terms of the concept of saying, hey, this guy is dynamite and he's red hot and on fire and all that. So it's just kind of the concept. I feel like this is a good look mixtape Messiah 2, but it just kind of feels a mild taste of underwhelming just because he can rap, but the combination of him not using cuss words in his lyrics, I mean, he did kind of cuss on The Sound of Revenge, but he kind of mostly X's that stuff out on this project, and he definitely did on Ultimate Victory, but for some reason, I kind of feel like the reception for this project was kind of underwhelming, and it just kind of feels milder than it probably should have. I feel like Chamillionaire is kind of like a mild version of Lil Wayne, which is still good in that sense, but just not quite the claim that he should have gotten. So there's no singles off this mixtape, so I'm just gonna list the 8 songs out of 15 I recommend to you. So they would be She Gonna Already Know, Let 'Em Know, Game Gonna Cost a Fee, Riding Overseas, Answer Machine 2, International Money, I Run It, and Man Hold Up. So to talk about a few of these, I'm going to talk about the instrumentals that are freestyles first. So that would be I Run It, International Money, Game Gonna Cost a Fee, and She Gonna Already Know. So I Run It is a freestyle to Eminem's You Don't Know from his Re-Up album from 2006, and that's a pretty good rendition. I definitely kind of feel like it's just a standard freestyle, but Chamillionaire does a great job with that, so it's definitely a good beat to rap to, and I feel like that one does real well. International Money is a freestyle to Lil Boozy's Zoom, and this is a pretty nice one too. He basically pretty much tears apart the song. It's just really too bad that it doesn't have cuss words and that type of stuff in it, because I just feel like it's just like healthy popcorn kind of, where I do like this stuff, but I just feel like it kind of takes some of the venom, because you kind of get the clean version of rap on here whether or not you want it or not. But Chamillionaire is maybe not an asshole, but he's kind of a jerk sometimes. That's probably the more appropriate word, is to say Chamillionaire is kind of, yeah, it's probably the more appropriate word to say Chamillionaire is kind of a jerk. He kind of has that veneer about him on this project, but it is at least good lyrics to be able to say that he can rap. So it's just kind of that concept. And Game Gonna Cost a Fee is like a real nice summer bop. This is a UGK song. I forget which one, but it's a nice summer bop on here. And really feels like a nice kind of summer heat wave kind of song, where it's just escapingly hot and that type of stuff. Perfect for July and August type weather, like UGK did so many songs like that. Real nice one. And then She Gonna Already Know is an instrumental of Slim Thug's Boss Hog Outlaws group. So that was a really good song that came out on the Boss Hog Outlaws album from 2007. I forget the name of the song, but it's a really nice one. Chamillionaire really works well in like these Texas tunes, because he is from Texas. I think he's from Houston and that type of stuff. So it's pretty good to get that sort of thing. Definitely appreciate that. That's a classic hit right there from Chamillionaire. And then to talk about the 4 new songs, Let 'Em Know is like a real kind of thumping and kind of pulsating kind of club type song. Really feels like a smoke ready type song. I definitely appreciated that one. Just a crunchy kind of club type bop. Definitely like that. And Man Hold Up is a little bit more of like a quicker tempo, uppity, and kind of tense kind of club song, but still a pretty nice kind of nightclub and kind of more night venue type feel towards it. Definitely has a nice piano beat on there. Feels like something Pimp C or 3 6 Mafia would do, that type stuff. Definite nice one. Riding Overseas, like I was thinking originally that I didn't like this song, but I kind of do. It's just a real kind of looming and sprawling, kind of haunting club song. Kind of has like these kind of sparkly pianos in there, just maybe not pianos, but just kind of sparkly kind of production on there, and this kind of feels real overcast. And I mean, it kind of has powerful lyrics, because it just talks about a few folks that kind of get fucked over and that type of stuff, just kind of keeping you on your toes and to keep your ears up and be more alert and that type of stuff. The only real a somewhat disappointment about this song is just the fact that Akon doesn't really deliver a new hook. He just kind of repeats the hook from Ridin' Dirty, so it's just kind of like an interpolation or like a pseudo remix of Riding and that type of stuff. I do like the song, and I can definitely feel it kind of being a pretty easy going kind of club type song as far as that kind of goes. Just a nice overcast VIP and just night venue type song, but I would have liked Akon to have done a new hook or something like that. But it is a nice song. And then Answer Machine 2. So Answer Machine 2 is a song off of Michael Jackson's Thriller from 1982, and I forget the name of the song. I'll put it in the video so you can see the name of the song that this sampled. But it is a nice beat, and it really comes off as like a real mellow kind of play a type song for the ladies and that sort of thing. It's a real suave type song. I really appreciated it. Kind of James Bond type feeling, that sort of thing. But I just would have to say that there's some real good ones on here. But to talk about some of the ones I didn't enjoy, like unfortunately, Chamillionaire needed way more kind of original cuts. I definitely would have liked a few more new songs, kind of to see what he was up to in 2006 during his 15 minutes of fame with Ridin' Dirty and The Sound of Revenge. Definitely would have liked a few more hits on here. I think he probably could have used the occasional cuss word like ass or damn or something like that. And I think that there should have been more guests on here. Like, if you didn't know, Chamillionaire has a brother named Rasak, and he's not on here. I mean, maybe he's on Roll Call Reloaded, but apart from that, I would have liked for his brother Rasak to have been on here and some stuff like that, and like, more original songs and better beats too. Like, I feel like Jay-Z just completely upstaged Chamillionaire at the Show Me What You Got remix, and Tupac completely upstaged Chamillionaire at Picture Me Rollin', trying to do that one. Roll Call Reloaded was too long a song. I kind of felt I did like the fact that it was from Bun B's Get Throw, but it probably should have just been like 3.5 minutes. It just rapped for too long on the song. I definitely liked the Get Throwed beat, but it just was a little bit lengthier than I would have wanted it to. And like let him or trying to change me was a Lil Jon beat that Lil Jon did for Lil Scrappy off of his album with Money in the Bank on there. I've always hated the instrumental that's on Trying to Change Me. I forget the name of the song, but this is a really terrible beat. It just is real clumsy and cumbersome and unwieldy, and it just has always had a horrid kind of thumping. I mean, it sounds really destructive, but it's just probably one of Lil Jon's worst beats. I mean, normally Lil Jon is a pretty great producer, but that's just an overall bad one. Like, also, I like that he was trying to do lyrical rap and talk about the hip hop is dead concept. I like that he was trying to do lyrical rap and talk about the hip hop is dead concept that Nas brought up in 2006. But the beat for Hip Hop is Dead by Nas is just really bad. I just never really liked that one. I mean, at least I felt like there's probably better ones off the Nas's Hip Hop is Dead album that Chamillionaire could have done. But that's just a bad beat. And there's just stuff like that, kind of weak beats. I mean, I feel like Chamillionaire's ear for beats should be better if he was going to tear apart songs. He could have done Laffy Taffy. He could have done It's Going Down by Young Jock. He could have done Why You Wanna or Top Back by T.I. He could have done Trap Star by Jeezy. He could have done Sittin' Sideways by Paul Wall. He could have done Still Tippin' by Mike Jones. I mean, there's just so many better Dirty South beats that I would have liked on this project that could have fit the billing better than some of the ones he chose. It just kind of felt like he was more making statements more so than actually doing some stuff that would have done more damage. It just kind of he kind of like grinds his wheels a little bit and it just doesn't come off with the execution that freestyling mixtapes are supposed to do, and that's kind of a problem. And on top of that, there's not a ton of new material, and especially material that could really kick ass. I forgot to talk about Get Your Umbrellas Out. That's a new beat, but it's just pretty awful. Yeah, Get Your Umbrellas Out is just a pretty awful beat. I definitely think Chamillionaire's ear for beats probably could have been probably two or three notches better. It really was kind of like questionable in some of these concepts as far as what kind of went on, because mixtapes are supposed to build momentum because you're supposed to be able to hear lyrics over beats that just make you want to wig out and that type of stuff, and that just did not happen nearly enough. But I do like the new club songs that he dropped and some of the remixes, some of the summer songs and lady songs and that type of stuff, but it's just kind of infrequent. So I'm going to give this mixtape a 6.25 out of 10, me liking 8 out of 15. I feel like that's good enough. Kind of mild, like I said, mildly underwhelming just because it needed better beats and a few more original songs and a little bit more bite and ferocity as far as trying to build buzz, just in kind of what Chamillionaire did. Because I just feel like Chamillionaire is just kind of a slightly kind of tepid and humble type dude that just doesn't make enough noise as he needs to, and he just crested way longer than he should. He crested way longer than he should have off of Ridin' Dirty. He really should have had some more singles to kind of build that buzz and bring it back. I mean, he at least tried with this mixtape, but it just didn't. I don't know. There's not really any definitive hit on here that could have been the next hit. Kind of like Rick Ross when he dropped Hustlin', he had another follow-up hit single with Chevy Ridin High, and Jeezy, of course, did that same thing with his mixtape run with DJ Drama back in 2005 and stuff. But Chamillionaire, he should have at least dropped a new song, something that could have been like a Ridin' Dirty Part 2 or some sort of street cut or something that could have gotten him some buzz, but he just chose the Lil Wayne route and kind of just decided to freestyle and kind of just have. I mean, at least the club cuts are good, but I just feel like he had some missed opportunities that it kind of pigeonholed him into being a one-hit wonder. So that's kind of the concept. The social score, I will give a 6.5 out of 10 to, also just because it does have some nice club cuts. The album is free, or the mixtape is free. He can rap pretty well, and he's kind of like a mild version of Lil Wayne when it comes to mixtape freestyle raps, like I said. So he's like a mild version of that. He is a pretty stellar lyricist, better than a lot of folks out there, but it's just not always on beats that you would like and kind of in an interesting tenor. So that's just kind of the problem. But so yeah, 6.5 out of 10 social. In terms of the future, Chamillionaire's kind of been absent for a while. He's talked about possibly putting out like some new albums. I really wish he would have dropped Venom because that had Ludacris on there and that type stuff. And supposedly you can find Venom on DatPiff if that website would ever start working again. He dropped a couple EPs in 2013, and he's kind of flirted with the idea of putting out the Project Poison. We'll see what happens, but I'm definitely going to review more from Chamillionaire. But I would like to see like more quality club cuts like Riding Overseas and Man Hold Up and some of those.